Last episode, we got our mud and dirt factory all nice and complete, and in this episode, we're heading across our world to a new area to start building some new mines and factories, including a sand mine with a massive bucket wheel excavator. Hello, I am back from my 1 week little break, and I had my wisdom tooth out yesterday, so that was fun. Currently sort of recovering from that, but I'm not doing too bad. But my plans for this week are to actually move into another new area to start off with some new factories. And that first one being, as you know from the title, a sand mine. Now I am going to need my schematic cannon and stuff, which actually I might already have. Okay, I've somehow misplaced my schematic cannon. I have the schematic and quill, but for some reason I am not finding it in my backpack or anything, so I guess we'll have to make a new one. Okay, there's our new ones, but what we're going to do is we're going to head all the way northwest over to the desert over here. Gotta have a sand mine in the desert, I think that makes sense. And we're probably going to have it over here next to this big old cliff of sand. And the thing I'm of course talking about is my big old sand miner. We quickly place these down. Get our schematic here called Sand Miner. It's going to take a second to upload. And there we go. Now, this thing is pretty big, as you can see. And I made this in creative because as much as I like the idea of building big things in survival, I simply did not have the time for it this week. So I made it in creative and we've made this huge, gigantic thing. Now I do want to embed it into the hill a little bit, and I will probably have to remove some of the sand so that when I get this wheel turning, it doesn't accidentally pick up all the sand with it. But this is more or less the position I think I want this thing in. It's meant to be like a bucket excavator of sorts. I'm pretty sure they use these in sand mines, but this isn't real life, so it doesn't matter. But I'll need to clear out some of the land, and also I'm going to need to grab all the materials for it, and this is going to be quite a lot. Certainly plenty of industrial iron, industrial plating, dark metal plating, and also quite a bit of netherrack. Although actually a little bit less than I thought it was going to be. But I do need to go to the nether and grab some of that netherrack. And considering I also need realistically some netherite to upgrade my armor and replace my boots at some point because I broke them, you know, it's time for an upgrade. And I think we can do two things at once by getting our netherrack and also trying to get some netherite as well. So if we head back home and grab our big drill over here, but I think I do want to make this a little bit bigger than it currently is. And again, luckily we've pretty much automated all this stuff now, so I just need to grab a bunch of those. And I think something this size should do for now. Don't need to overdo it. We pick this up again, although do it preferably the right way around. Pick this up, and then remember that I didn't glue it. Okay, it's been a whole week, I forgot everything. Okay, let's try that again. And now we've picked everything up. I've got the Strong R's achievement, which is pretty funny. Yeah, let's head to the nether and go pretty much as far down as I can. Though actually I think what I'm going to do here real quick is actually place pretty much most of my important things in this backpack here, just in case I die. And although we do have the graves, just in case I can't get it back, at least we have a backup, you know? And of course the issue with the area next to the portals that there is a lot of lava, and I realistically don't want to be near any, or at least not be near as much to reduce the chance of me running into lava and burning myself to death. And I think I'll just dig into this wall and start mining downwards, although I think I am going to add a little bit of a waypoint so I remember. Also, yes, I did just get a music disc and ghast tip because I did go and kill a ghast, but that's not what we're here about. We need to head down pretty much as low as possible, or at least just above kind of bedrock, preferably while not running into any lava sources. And if we get this cart down, we can start mining along into the nether. Well, the bad news is that I tried to pick up the contraption before it kept going into the lava, but I missed it. And this is now going to be a bit of a problem because I can't exactly pick it up with my current setup. So I may have to try and mine ahead of it somehow. Unfortunately, it's like the exact right height. that the lava falls down. Although we are heading towards a bit of a deeper bit here, so it's time for a rescue mission. Hey, you know what? I did try to save this thing, but I accidentally broke the minecart and now it's no longer a structure that I can pick up. So, whoops. Looks like I'm going to have to get some netherite myself so I can go and save this damn thing. Hey, you know what? Never mind. I was able to at least get a bunch of netherrack, including even more in my backpack. So we should have enough for my sand miner at least. And I have to go find some more debris and save my mine, probably off camera. But yes, I think I'll collect the rest of the items that I need, except this creative motor. Forgot to remove that. If I collect the rest of the items I need, and then we can start building it in the world. Many items collected later, and some flattening of the landscape. We can more or less get started with our cannon over here. If I put my schematic back in and put our clipboard, I should have more or less everything here. Obviously, I don't have the creative motor because this is not creative. That's pretty much everything that we need. So now let's do a quick little time lapse, shall we? And there we go, that is our bucket wool extractor in. I do have to fix a couple of things. All the belts down here did not work whatsoever, although hopefully that shouldn't be too hard of a fix. And I do need to clear out the sand next to the actual excavator itself. But that shouldn't be a huge issue, although annoyingly, it placing down all those belts, I think used them up. So I think I lost a bunch of them in the process, but maybe not. Actually, you know what? I think this is going to be fine actually. We can just extend these down. And there we go. There is all the tracks in that this would, in theory, move along if it were able to move. And then I've also cleared some space around the bucket excavator itself so that I could glue things together. And I'll probably shape this land a little bit once this gets moving. But what I have done here is I have a windmill bearing and I've hidden some wool on the inside of the bucket excavator. So fingers crossed, in theory, when I right click this, it should be working correctly, which it does seem like it is. So yep, as you can see, it's kind of would be scraping the rock around here, and I'll probably build up some sand around here or sandstone around here to make it look a bit more accurate. But yeah, I think that looks quite good. I of course have got to set up some conveyor belts to bring the sand from that and probably down into the center here and out the side into some kind of storage area. But of course, this bucket excavator thing doesn't actually physically work. It is purely just decorative. And what I'm probably going to do is actually build some kind of sand factory on the inside of this mountain, and then use some of the weighted ejectors to essentially eject out from inside the factory all the way through this stationary contraption, because you can actually do that. I tried. And onto the belts over here to kind of make it still look like this is working, even if it doesn't actually work in reality. Now, I think I'm probably just going to dig out a big old hole here, kind of next to where our bucket excavator is. And although it's all going to be hidden away, I think I still want it to look kind of pretty. So I'm going to have to come up with some kind of design for the interior here. And this would probably be a lot quicker if I didn't lose my stupid drill in the nether, but you know, that's my mistake. Oh wow, we're way too close. Okay, well, apparently my ability to make decisions is very low today because I decided to make one of them again anyway. Whatever, it's not that resource intensive, but hopefully this can actually be useful. And there we go, that's probably big enough. You know, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's a pretty simple setup. I think I will once again start off with a little cobble gen in the corner over here. Now, perhaps I'll place this slightly into the ground so it doesn't stick up too close to the ceiling. And to need our item chutes on top, some cobblestone on top of those chutes so they can be easily broken, some stuff on the sides so we can place down our water and lava. Then we're going to need our drills on both sides, and then some encased chain drives to connect them all up, including at the back here, so that it's all one connected system. And once I throw some lava in, we more or less have a completed cobblestone gen. Then of course I need to take that cobblestone out of the system and move it along a belt. And we can probably just place all the way down here, making sure to move these lights. Because all I essentially need to do is have 2 sets of crushing wheels, some gearboxes to spin those around. And the first one will be turning the cobblestone into gravel, and then the second one can be our gravel into sand. Now, the gravel to sand one also produces clay balls and flint. And I think I'm just going to throw away the flint. I don't really have any use for it, but I am going to keep a hold on to the clay, as that's always going to be a useful product to have. If we place a smart filter underneath here with our flint, as well as some lava, anything that kind of comes along this line that's flint should get filtered out and burnt up. And of course I'm probably just going to go around with some of this casing. It's funnel to come out of here, hook up some gearboxes, and this should pretty much be ready to go. Now of course the only thing we don't have over here in the desert is a form of power. And I do have a kind of unique idea that I want to do that, but I probably don't have time for that in this episode. So I think I might create like a temporary steam engine and just bring over a tank of lava to kind of fulfill our needs for the meantime. So we're going to head home and grab ourselves a bunch of fluid tanks and stuff so we can make our steam engine. Now, of course, this does also mean I now need to go back to the Nether again to fill in these blaze burners. Probably bring one of these to the overworld at some point. Although I do have plans to make a form of farm with these guys, so probably best to grab them when I'm creating that. But just come straight over here and more or less leave, because luckily for us, they don't spawn quickly enough, so I don't have to worry about getting shot by them. Then over here for our setup, we're just going to have a temporary place where we can place all our blaze burners, some pipes underneath, and some fluid tanks on top, because these are going to become the place where our engines sit. And I don't know if I actually need to make this tank bigger. To be fair, this will probably be well and truly enough, so I don't think I have to worry about it too much. We'll hook up some shafts to this, make sure they're facing the right way, and hook these up with a case chain drive as well. And if we head back home once again, what I'm going to do is come up to my fluid tank here full of lava, because I'm going to place down a card assembler with a tank on top, and that might be enough for now. And then if I have this go in between, does this fill up? No. I think if I fill up from back here, it should be fine. Decided to make it a little bit bigger while I was waiting to fill up, and wow, is this taking forever to fill up. And I think I should be able to place this in here, although oh no, it's in fact the exact perfect height. Nothing to worry about. Now I am going to need a pump of sorts, as well as a water supply. I think I'll just place over here, and we can just have this come straight down and pull out of this. And if we hook up all these systems together, then in theory with a little bit of a crank of the water, that should start bringing in both the water and the lava into the system, and then place that cog there to keep the water going. Although I think I might need to add some more pumps for the water. Okay, with some reconfiguring, I think I have got it all ready and working. We're making about 147,000 SU, which is definitely plenty, I think, for the system. And I think if we just hook up the rest, hopefully this should be able to power it all rather nicely. Although I need to make sure that this is powering in the right direction, and that we do have some stuff in between, so this gets spun around. And there we go, we now have cobblestone being turned into gravel, gravel turned into sand and clay and flint, and the flint is getting burnt underneath. Perfect. We're not getting through this lava too quickly, so I don't think I have to worry about it too much. Might consider speeding up the system. I'm going to leave at this current speed for now because I want to hook up the rest of the belts and stuff to the outside system. I think what I would do is make some weighted ejectors, probably about 4 of them, because I want to probably spread this out onto 4 different belts, just so it doesn't look too small in comparison to the machine. And I am going to need to place some belts over here so we actually have something to attach to. I don't want it to embed too far into this, otherwise it look a bit weird. However, if we do that, to select our target and then place that down like here, hopefully that shouldn't collide with anything. In fact, what I'm going to do is connect all this up real quick as a bit of a test. Now in theory, this should start ejecting, oh god, it should start ejecting once the belt gets moving, which I think I'm just going to grab a water wheel and some water. And yes, that is going the wrong way, but we do see the sand being thrown across onto the belt here relatively successfully. And yeah, that's pretty much what I want. I just want it to eject directly through this machine and hopefully along this belt. So we just need to carry it on down into the middle here. Then we can have a bunch of chutes heading all the way down here. I have all these chutes coming down onto the belts down here, although I'm not sure if I actually really need this many chutes. Could probably just fall straight down and be fine. Perhaps I'll remove some of these and see how it works. So I know chutes can be kind of expensive in terms of CPU usage. If I hook this all up to some chain drives here, and we're going to help hide behind one of the pillars, I'm gonna bring that down, hook that up to these belts, get some water wheels in here, hook those up to a rotational speed controller, although go in the other direction and quite fast. Now that all means that all this stuff is now starting to move. Unfortunately, this might be a little bit too fast for this system, so what I may have to do is pull these back by 1, add a chute above them, because I think that system probably works a little bit better. Yes. Yeah, they drop straight down and then out through here. Now all I need to do is set up the rest of the ejectors here. And then set up a couple more belts here, along with some brass tunnels. And that should now be spreading everything rather nicely. And there we go, with some fiddling around, I've set up a speed controller here to speed everything up. So now everything is being flung across to here and along our conveyor belts, and currently just being dumped down onto the ground here. Now I think what I will do is start building this belt out towards some temporary storage, because I do eventually want to hook this up to a train station as well, but that will be for another episode. But we can use some of these girders. In fact, actually, I will probably make this a little bit wider. I think something as simple as this will do for now. And I've added a small little item vault at the end just to hold on to anything that does come down here. And I'll make sure to actually connect these up again so that we do start seeing some items moving. Yeah, there we go. They'll come down the line here and into this vault. Perfect. And then with a little bit more decorating, I think, around the area. And there we go, I just added up some random sand piles underneath to kind of make it seem like some sand has kind of fallen off the conveyors as it whizzes by. And that's more or less what I wanted to do this week. I wanted to get a bunch of sand and clay that I can send back to our home base to make some other things. And I kind of wanted to go a little bit overboard for honestly something that's quite simple really in the grand scheme of things, but I liked the idea of making a big bucket wheel excavator for the sand. And of course, this isn't going to be the only thing that I build over here. I do plan to also come over to this little bit of mesa here, or Badlands as it's called these days. And I'm thinking of probably also doing a gold mine and a terracotta mine, just so we have those resources as well, as terracotta is always a nice resource to build with, and gold is going to be useful for Create itself. And then also have a plan for the power station that I mentioned earlier. And I'm also thinking of maybe starting a bit of a dock back here. I don't know exactly where I'm going to place it, but perhaps somewhere along this desert line here, so that we can start having potentially some things out in the water. But yes, thank you everyone for watching this week. I very much appreciate it. A little bit of a shorter episode, thanks to me being quite busy with work and having a whole wisdom tooth taken out of my mouth, which wasn't painful at all. And hopefully we can get back into the swing of things next week. But once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye for now.